Aston Martin, the iconic carmaker, has just sent shockwaves through the Formula One world by announcing the sale of the Aston Martin Formula One team. While this might come as a surprise to casual F1 fans, anyone paying attention to the automotive industry knows this has been a long time coming. Aston Martin has been drowning in financial trouble for years. Desperate for liquidity, the company simply can't afford the luxury of an F1 team anymore. But here's the twist. This decision isn't slowing down the team's ambitions. In fact, Aston Martin F1 is charging full speed ahead toward 2026 with their eyes locked on dominating under the new regulations. In this video, we'll break down the shocking sale, the sky-high valuation it's given the team, and what Fernando Alonso is saying about their future plans. Buckle up, this one's big. Music, this isn't a new story in Formula One. A car manufacturer buys into an F1 team thinking it'll boost their brand and sell more cars. They pour millions into it trying to look good, only to realize the returns don't justify the spending. Eventually, they pull the plug. In truth, F1 teams are luxury assets, useful if your finances are solid and your CEO has a passion project in mind. It's also a great way to write off hundreds of millions and dodge taxes if you've got clever accountants. But trying to use an F1 team to fix a financial crisis, that's a mistake. Aston Martin's sale of its F1 stake is textbook. Behind the shiny veneer, the legendary brand, best known for being James Bond's ride, is in deep trouble. The makers of the Vantage, Vanquish, DB12, and DBX have lost half their stock value in just 1 year. That's catastrophic. If you're not familiar with stock market lingo, here's the bottom line. Second quarter revenue plummeted by 34%, mostly because of weak demand for their supercars like the Valkyrie and the upcoming Valhalla. But it gets worse. A new U.S. tariff regime is wreaking havoc on their exports. A recent U.S.-UK deal reduced tariffs to 10%, down from a ridiculous 27.5%. But there's a brutal catch. That lower rate only applies to the first 100,000 vehicles shipped from the UK each year. After that, right back up to 27.5%. For a boutique brand like Aston Martin, that's a death sentence. If a U.S. customer was looking at a $100,000 Aston, it now costs $127,500. And Aston doesn't pay that, the American buyer does. Many of them simply won't see the value anymore. So what does Aston Martin do? Easy. They look around and sitting there is a massive, incredibly valuable, non-essential asset, their F1 team, or at least part of it. You see, Aston Martin only owns 4.6% of the Formula One team, just enough to get their name plastered on the car. The real mastermind behind the operation is Canadian billionaire Lawrence Stroll, whose Utri consortium also owns 33% of Aston Martin, the car company. Things get messy fast. Thanks to existing deals between the F1 team and the carmaker, the Aston Martin branding will remain on the F1 grid, even though the company itself is cashing out. In short, Aston Martin will still look like Aston Martin in F1, but they won't actually be Aston Martin anymore. Confused? You're not alone. Now that's where it gets jaw-dropping. The 4.6% stake in the team is being sold for $146 million, which pegs the Aston Martin F1 team's valuation at $3.2 billion. Let that sink in. Just last year, investment deals with HPS Investment Partners and Arctos gave the team a $2.4 billion valuation. Go back to 2023, and another deal with Arctos valued it at $1.3 billion. That's a 246% increase in value in just 2 years. Now rewind even further. When Lawrence Stroll bought the team back in 2018, then known as Racing Point, he paid just $117 million. In 7 years, he's made a 2,735% return. Sure, he's sunk a fortune into it. Just the new Silverstone campus cost at least $200 million, but the return is undeniable, and he's not going anywhere. Lawrence Stroll and his son will remain part of the team, which means, despite the shakeup, 2026 is still shaping up to be one hell of a season. Before we jump into what's next, if you're enjoying this video and want to stay up to date with every twist and turn of the F1 season, hit that like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. Now, back to the grid. 2024 has been a disappointment for Aston Martin. They kicked off 2023 with high hopes, but now they're languishing in 8th place in the Constructors' Championship. They've fallen back into the chaotic midfield, and they don't look like they're breaking out anytime soon. Fernando Alonso has already mentally checked out of this season. Instead, he's looking ahead to 2026. The two-time world champion openly admitted that little will change this year. Most of the team's focus has shifted to the future and the development of their next-gen car under the new technical regulations. At the recent Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, their struggles were on full display. Alonso finished 18th and Stroll came home 14th. Despite adjusting the setup for wet weather, Alonso refused to use it as an excuse. "We did change the setup since this morning to accommodate a little bit for the rain, but it's not an excuse," he said. "We should not be that much slower in dry conditions with the changes we made." He added they were half a second off the Q2 cutoff, not because of the rain setup, but because the car simply isn't there. Alonso's honesty reveals the hard truth. The AMR25 isn't going to turn things around. In his words, 80% of the focus is already on 2026. And it's not just the engineers or designers. The drivers are mentally preparing too. Apart maybe from the two McLaren drivers, the rest of us were just thinking a little bit and dreaming about what could be a good season next year. With a new technology campus, a dedicated engine supplier in Honda, and Adrian Newey possibly guiding development, optimism is well placed. But here's a subplot worth watching. With Alonso and Stroll locked in for next year, what happens to Felipe Drugovich, their longtime reserve driver? Despite remaining in the shadows, he's made headlines this week with several new sponsorships. One sponsor in particular, Tekla, a Latin American software developer recruitment firm, explicitly referred to Drugovich as an F1 driver. Could this be a hint he's joining the grid in 2026, perhaps with Cadillac? And he's not alone in chasing the dream. Jack Crawford, the American-born Aston Martin Jr., is also eyeing a race seat. Speaking to Autosport, he said, "It depends a lot on what I do in Formula 2 this year. If I can win the championship, it would be great for my career. It could lead to many opportunities." He's currently third in the F2 standings, just 9 points off the lead. Cadillac has openly said they want an American driver, but only on merit. If Crawford wins the F2 title, he might just be the guy they've been waiting for. So, what do you think? Could Drugovich or Crawford secure a full-time seat in 2026? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're curious about the finances fueling Formula 1, be sure to check out our recent video on Christian Horner's rumored F1 team purchase. Until next time, drive safe, and bye for now.